state of mind that regardless of the fact that they are shown any signs or otherwise, they will not believe. So, when you go back and consider the time of Hazrat Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam, now in the backlight of history you see so many signs. But those who were closer to those signs, they were blinded and they couldn't see. Now to further extend your imagination back into the history of prophets and tell me which are the people who accepted a prophet through signs. Quote a single instance. Moses showed 9 signs and glaring signs, glittering signs to Pharaoh and his people, and they kept on rejecting. Now you look back to see wonderful signs and how blind they were, how could not they accept them. But those who were passing through that time, they were blinded. No prophet who is mentioned in the Holy Quran to have brought some signs or miracles is declared by the Holy Quran to have been accepted on the strength of such signs and miracles. Not a single instance can be quoted from the Holy Quran. So these things repeat themselves. So coming back to your question, the whole thing which I have explained applies to the fundamentals of your question. To say that poor Messiah was ill-treated and his situation was made difficult for the Jews, or to say that the Jews were ill-treated and they were not provided with enough signs for them to believe in that Messiah, is proved to be a wrong assessment of the situation in the light of the histories of prophets. Because whether they bring signs or not, whether things are made easy for the people or not, they do reject. And their previous conduct and their behavior and their treatment of their fellow beings and their hard-heartedness and their continuous habit of usurping others' rights and to tell lies and to commit all sorts of sins, these are the facts which already are responsible for this. One such people who indulge in these follies mature in their follies. That is the time for a prophet to come and to warn. So the very few among them who are pious, who are exceptions, they begin to accept, and a process of polarization begins. And ultimately, sometimes with very severe signs from Allah, which shake the whole nation, they begin to believe, and sometimes generations after, from the time of the Prophet, they ultimately succumb to repeated signs and will of Allah, decree of Allah. But Jews were not ill-treated, that is the point. They had been committing such sins and such evils before Messiah came, that for such hard-hearted people, everything was difficult to believe. This is why the Holy Quran goes on saying that you are the people who have been rejecting prophets before. You are the people who murdered prophets before, who opposed them tooth and nail, tried your best to destroy their message. So this is the language addressed to those Jews among whom Christ had come. Understand, or there is still something left?
Very small question.
Please. On the same issue or some other issue?
No. The same subject.
Yes.
Am I to understand, would you like me to believe, the denial of the Jews of Jesus Christ was preordained?
What?
Was preordained?
No, I never said that. That is the word. If I really understand this, I never said that. If the word preordained is applicable to their own acts, not to the will of God, then perhaps you're right. This is what I was saying. What I've been trying to explain is this, that their past acts of evil and their hard-heartedness had pre-written their fate and had doomed them for that state of rejection in which the unfortunate people of the times of Prophet are found. Not Allah's decree, but their own acts culminating into a state which is ripe for rejection and for nothing else. This is what the Holy Quran has been saying and telling us. A decree from Allah or predestined in the sense that Allah had already decreed long before that they would be rejected, they would be destroyed, and they are bound to reject, and they have no other choice. This is wrong. This is never decreed by Allah. Yes, please.
Why do you address Allah as He? As He?
He? You also address it as you, thou, or you, don't you?
Yeah, but must we say that He is great and He is one? Why do we say that she is one?
When I say she to me.
Yeah.
Yes. Because all right. You know, you couldn't say it, could you? No. No. Out of the three possible references, we are left with two only. Either he or she. Now, what would you prefer to be called?
I would prefer to say he, but...
No. I said, what would you prefer to be called yourself?
Myself?
Yes.
He.
Why such vehemence to the word he? As if it was an insult if you were called a she.
Yeah, but no one has ever seen Allah, so how do you know that it is a he?
I understand your point. I was just playing with you. The fact is that Allah has no sex. He is neither a he in the human terms nor a she in the human terms. But the fact is that you could not call him it either, because it is he has a life, he has a consciousness, and he is life and the source of all life. So how could you call him it? So it is our question. So but he is still neither he nor she. And you couldn't address to call him a eunuch either, because that is a bad thing. That is a defect, and he has no defect. He is not he or she, not because he is a eunuch, in between, but because these things do not apply to him. You know, the human sexuality is a limited affair to the animal kingdom of this world. And this sexuality, the concept of this sexuality is not applicable to any heavenly body, not to mention Allah. Even the angels are neither he nor she. So the other heavenly bodies, whatever they are not made like man and woman. So out of the two, you had to have a choice. And because more often than not, certain weaknesses are attributed to women in every society. Even in those societies which are called the so-called most modern and sophisticated societies, and emancipate itself.